Title: She cheated, then came crawling back after 2 years. This is what happened. Imagine this: you give someone your heart, your trust, your time, and they betray you. Then, 2 years later, they come back. Not to apologize for the hurt they've caused, but to ask if they can be part of your life again. How would you react? Well, you're about to hear the story of a man who faced this situation head-on. Let's dive into this one and stay tuned until the end, because the twist is truly something else. What's up, everyone? I hope you're doing well. This is a story that's going to hit you right in the feels. Trust me. If you're someone who's ever been hurt by a partner, especially when they cheat, this one's for you. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Oh, and by the way, the original post is linked in the description if you want to read the whole thing. Let's go. The beginning, the rise of their relationship. Our protagonist, let's call him Mark, was a 29-year-old guy who had everything going for him when he met Jessica. It was back in college, 2013, he was 22, she was 21. They clicked right away. What started as a friendship soon turned into something more. A year later, they were an official couple, and Mark was convinced that he had found his person. Their relationship was solid, filled with love and laughter, the kind of relationship you think is built to last. But life, as we know, has a way of throwing curveballs. Fast forward to 2016. Mark was at home when he received a call from Jessica. She said she was outside and needed to talk. The tone in her voice was enough to send a chill down his spine. When he went outside, he found her sitting in her car, visibly upset and crying. His heart sank. Jessica confessed the unthinkable: she had cheated. It wasn't just one mistake, she had gotten involved with another guy. The betrayal hit hard. Mark was in shock, his heart racing, as she explained how she had developed feelings for her affair partner, AP. But here's where it gets worse. She told him she thought they should break up because he deserved better than her. As if that made it any easier. Jessica, tearfully, said that she had been in a relationship with her AP for a while, and it had escalated quickly. But even more startling was how she ended the conversation. "I deserve to be with someone better than you," she said. Mark was devastated, hurt more by the words than the act itself. After all, it was the first time in his life someone he loved had cheated on him. I'm not going to go into all the details here. But what really stood out was when she posted on social media that night. She said she wished she could disappear. It was a classic emotional play to get sympathy. But Mark knew better. He deleted her from his social media, and with a broken heart, he tried to move on, believing that her new relationship would fall apart just like most cheating relationships do. 2 years later, the unexpected reunion. 2 years passed. Mark had gotten over the initial heartbreak. He wasn't in a rush to jump into another relationship, but he was focusing on himself, building a better life. Then, out of the blue, Jessica reached out. She wanted to meet up. She claimed she wanted to talk. By now, Mark was no longer the naive guy he used to be. He knew the dangers of allowing someone back into his life after they betrayed him. Mark agreed to meet her, but he wasn't expecting the woman he once knew. When they met at a diner in New Jersey, it was clear that she had been through a lot. She looked like she had been crying for hours, and she appeared more vulnerable than he had ever seen her. It wasn't the woman he fell in love with. This was someone broken, someone who had experienced pain. When Mark walked in, their eyes met, but there was no warm reunion. Instead, he gave her a cold nod. And she, caught off guard by his indifference, quickly wiped away tears. The emotional walls were up. What happened next was gut-wrenching for Jessica. She told Mark how her relationship with her AP had turned into a nightmare. She admitted that he was emotionally abusive, calling her ugly, telling her no one would ever love her the way he did. He broke up with her over text. No confrontation. Just a cowardly digital breakup. For 2 years, she had been living with this emotional baggage, thinking about Mark every single day. Her apology was full of regret, but it also felt rehearsed. She told him, "I thought about you every day for the last 2 years. I ruined everything, including us. And I lost my best friend." But the most striking moment was when she admitted she wasn't asking for them to get back together. "I don't deserve you," she said, her voice cracking. Mark just listened. He didn't say much, but his expression said it all. He didn't need to say a word for her to realize that the damage had been done. He wasn't angry anymore, but he was done. He wasn't going to be her emotional punching bag again. Jessica's voice wavered as she then said, "I miss you, Mark. I miss everything we had. I've missed you for 2 years." And finally, she asked if they could at least be friends again. Mark paused. He thought about it for a moment, then said, "I can't promise anything." And just like that, her tears flowed again. Mark didn't need to say anything more. He stood up, turned around, and walked out of the diner. He looked back once, and there she was, still crying, just like when they had first broken up. Nothing had changed. The next part of the story happened a little differently. Mark received messages from Jessica after he left the diner. She begged for his friendship, promising to work hard to earn his trust again. But Mark was resolute. He wasn't falling for it. Not this time. The final twist, a year later, and a big mistake. A year later, Mark ran into Jessica by chance while grabbing lunch. They spoke briefly, catching up, but things were different now. Mark wasn't cold anymore, but he wasn't the same person he once was. He offered her friends with benefits, perhaps in an attempt to regain some power over the situation, or maybe to get closure. Jessica agreed, and for a few months, they continued a casual arrangement. But Mark quickly realized that he didn't need this kind of distraction. He ended it. Jessica was disappointed, but she understood. She didn't fight him on it. Then, the bombshell dropped. A few months later, Jessica came to Mark, unannounced. Her new relationship had ended, and not on good terms. The new guy had cheated on her with multiple women, and just like her AP, he blamed her for the betrayal. Once again, she was left broken, with no one to turn to. Mark, now emotionally removed from her, just hugged her. He didn't feel pity, but he understood the lessons she had learned the hard way. "Take this lesson," he told her. "Don't make the same mistakes again." She left, and that was the last time they spoke. The aftermath, the realization. As of now, Jessica remains single. She's in therapy, trying to heal from the toxic relationships she put herself through. Mark, on the other hand, is thriving. He's single, focused on his career, working in psychology, and getting into shape. He's put the past behind him. "I can't help but reflect on what happened here," Mark shared. "I told her back then, if you leave me for another guy, it's going to blow up in your face. And it did. Karma's a real thing. And sometimes, you can't just fix things by apologizing years later." To anyone watching who's been in a similar situation, don't let someone's past mistakes dictate your future. Trust is something that's built over time, and once it's broken, it's hard to rebuild. Keep moving forward, focus on yourself, and never let someone take advantage of your kindness. And with that, Mark's story comes to an end. But his lessons are clear. Cheating doesn't just ruin the relationship, it ruins the cheater, too. And the road to redemption isn't always a straight one. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know your thoughts on this story in the comments below. Have you ever had someone cheat on you and then try to come back? How did you handle it? And as always, I'll catch you next time.